How much do I need to start a poultry farm? I think that's one of the frequently asked questions on my social media handles, like on YouTube and then on TikTok. A lot of people are inboxing me on how much they should have like in hand for them to start up a poultry farm. So if you are one of the people who are in need of knowing how much they need to start a poultry farm, then this video is definitely for you. My name is Jacob. I'm a poultry farmer currently doing layers, and as I speak right now, they are finishing their last portion of feeds for the day. Weather is very hot, like too hot, and you can always tell from how these birds are behaving. Let me first try to show you. You can take a look at the wings, how they spread their wings, you know. Let's try to zoom in, like that one over there. Their wings are spread apart, definitely showing that the weather is hot. You can look at that one over there, how the wings are, you know. They are almost like they are falling. But most of these birds, that's how they are right now, because the weather, like I said earlier, too hot. So back to the topic. How much do you need to start a poultry farm? I mean, starting a poultry farm, first of all, in terms of the money you need, the number one thing that should come into your mind is the breed of the birds that you want to keep. I cannot say that there is a rigid price for starting up a poultry farm. No, but it depends on the number of the birds that you want, the breed of the birds that you want to keep. Like for instance, let's say that you are in need of starting a poultry farm for broilers. The money that you will be spending on, let's say, 100 birds for the broilers, like for the entire project, is not the same as the person who wants to venture into the layers. Because with broilers, it is a little bit cheaper compared to the layers. Like let's say in here, I'm keeping 1,000 birds. Like this house is meant to keep 1,000 birds. That is the layers. But if I'm keeping the broilers, then I would do something like 2,000 in here. So you can see that first of all, with the structure, broilers is a little bit cheaper. I'll be talking first of all on few things which will determine, or which will actually give you a hint on how much you need to start a poultry farm. First of all is the breed of the birds. With the broilers, of course, with the starting capital, that is with the money that you'll be spending on buying the birds themselves. First of all, it depends on the breed of the birds you want to get, because there are a lot of poultry breeds, of course, of the broilers in the market. And normally, the prices of the broilers, that's a day-old broiler bird, ranges from 2,500 to 3,500 Uganda shillings. That's with the broilers. And if you come to the layers, I mean, it is between 4,000 to 5,500. But mine over here, I got them at 5,000. That one is each day-old bird. That is with the birds. Come to the structure. With the layers, they normally say that it should be 6 birds per square meter. And then if maybe you want to keep broilers, normally they say you can keep 10 to 12 birds per square meter. Come to the feeds. I mean, with the broilers, normally these are birds which grow very, very fast. Like the rate at which they convert the feeds they eat into making their body is relatively very, very high. You cannot compare a broiler bird with a local chicken. You cannot, because with broilers at the moment, it depends also on the target weight which a farmer wants. Like if let's say I'm in need of 1 kilogram, then definitely like in 20, 21, 22, 23 days, I'll be done with my birds. But if maybe I want to keep them like for 1.5, 2 kilograms, then it will take you a little bit longer. But you cannot compare it with any other bird. Like in terms of how they grow, is super fast. But With the layers, you must keep them for at least 17 to 18 weeks for you to start seeing an egg. And if you are to see with the layers, in terms of the feeds, of course, they are actually going to be expensive compared to the broilers, because let's say you are keeping them for 4.5 months for them to start laying. But with the broilers, just in a month, you are done, and then they are gone. And then another thing which you should know with the broilers is that they are a little bit different in terms of how we feed them, because with these layers, there is a certain amount of feeds that we have to give them every day. You cannot give them less, you cannot give them more. Okay, you can actually give them less, but of course, it will affect the rate at which they grow. And then in times to come, you would actually see other poultry farmers finding their first egg maybe in their 20th week. That's because the feed sometimes wasn't enough for the birds. But if you follow the programs very well on how you feed these birds, then at exactly 17, 18 weeks, you would start seeing an egg on your poultry farm. But with the broilers, the feeders should be full of feeds 24/7, because the more they eat, the more they grow. So we want them to grow very fast. Thus, we should give them feeds all the time. And then there are other materials which you also need to have on your poultry farm, which are, they are now obvious, like the drinkers, like the feeders, like the workers. So all of those things are now, I would say they are minor, but with the structure, poultry feeds, and the amount of the money you spend on each bird, and then the duration of the birds can really determine how much you can spend on a poultry bird. I cannot say that the amount of money that I spent in here to start up this poultry farm will be the same with your money in your area, because sometimes you may find in some places an iron sheet being so cheap because maybe they are near the factories, and then other areas, because we are far from the factories, the price of the iron sheets will be different. And also with the feeds as well, because there are some areas, like right now the maize is at let's talk about 1,000 Uganda shillings, but right now here it is at 800. So you never know, maybe in some areas it is at 500. So you cannot just compare the price which a person has actually started a poultry farm with a person from a different area. And of course, with the areas, stop looking at me. And of course, with some other areas, the settings of the area alone will also determine how much you spend. Like on land, I cannot talk about the land because the prices of land are all different. You cannot tell me that an acre of land costing, let's say, 1 million here is the same with an acre of land in Kampala, like in prices. Definitely no. So that is that. If you master that, that will actually give you a good figure of how much you can start up a poultry farm with. And of course, that is that in today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and turn on your bell notification. That way you never miss out in case I upload any new video on the channel. See you. Bye bye.